Hello, and welcome to Pantheon Talks. My name is Apollo,
And I'm Poseidon.
and we have a very interesting topic for today, understanding our Webtoon readers. Why is that important? What makes them pick up your comic or continue reading your story? So we are going to look at 6 specific areas. So our first area will be just the generic sort of look when you get onto Webtoons. So Poseidon, what makes you click on a Webtoon?
Well, it's a combination of things. Sometimes it's the cover art, sometimes it's the title, sometimes it's a combination of both of them. I find myself about to click off one and then I see the title from a thumbnail that I had no interest in, and I go back, I click on it, and then I look at the chapter spread, and if those thumbnails look interesting, I will continue.
So it seems like for a majority of it, you're more of a visual when you first
100%.
are deciding. 100%. Yeah, that's actually funny. That's me too.
Yeah. The visuals have to draw me in, and sometimes the title can draw me back in if I've decided to move on.
Which is pretty interesting considering that I'm more of an artist slash illustrator, and you don't really draw yourself, but you still find the images to be really important.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, what's funny too is you mentioned the titles. Generally, I pay them no attention. I could probably read a series for a long time and never know what it's called. As long as the story's good, I'm fine with it.
I might forget the title once I start reading, but if the title drew me in, I'm constantly trying to see what does this title mean in correlation to what I'm actually reading.
Oh, I read a webtoon like that where the title drove me crazy because for the entire first season, which is probably like 70 or 80 episodes, the title meant nothing. And they never explained what it meant. So it always bothered me when, you get those notifications and it's like, so and so has updated. What do you mean is what I would think every week. We finally got an explanation, sort of. But anyway,
It's
so
the
when
Bleach
you're,
conundrum.
yes. Although, that's a video in of itself. Like I feel like the bleach thing is just complete symbolism, but we won't devolve into that discussion. So when you're actually picking out a new series, does anything else stand out to you other than the art and the title?
No, definitely for my first impressions, definitely the art, the title secondary. And then third, I look at the thumbnails for the different episodes. If the thumbnails bore me, I keep moving. I've seen a couple on there in the Canvas area where the thumbnail is spot on, the title is amazing. I click into it and the art is nothing like the thumbnail, and I just back out, keep going scrolling because they've lost my
Mm.
interest. For me, all of that whole presentation until I click into the comic is very important.
Oh, so like if they misrepresent themselves, it kind of really affects
It
your
does.
feeling. Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of the same about genres. Like if I click on a genre that's labeled something and then I start reading it and it's not that, that annoys me. That's a whole mood. I'm just like, okay, close the app. Let me watch Netflix. All right, so that's kind of a pretty decent first impressions. Like I said, I'm kind of similar in the sense of the artwork generally is what pulls me in. But I will say specifically if it's a unique or pretty character. Like if the character looks really cool or they're like really pretty, then yeah, I have to check it out.
Unless they meet your standards of ugly, say an orc.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's like ugly pretty.
Ugly, pretty. Okay.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and transition into our second topic point, the initial artwork impression. So we kind of touched on this, but we're really gonna dig a little deeper into this because it's actually something that seems to be really big for the both of us. So how impactful is the art when you're reading a new series? And I know for you, you have a hard time with expressing yourself sometimes. So I'll give you the scale 1 to 10, and you can also give a reason too. So 10 being the highest, obviously.
For the impact of the art, I'd say at least an 8 or a 9, because it doesn't have to be the best looking art, but I need to see that you've tried. Sometimes I don't feel that people put their best foot forward, and story for me is important. But if I can't stand to look at whatever it is, that's why I hadn't picked up One Piece for so long, because I hated Luffy's design. Hated it.
No.
With a passion. Hated his design.
Okay, we're in the same boat. I was the same way, to be honest.
Early artwork, early design, it left a lot to be desired. I've started watching it now, but that's not because I started liking the art.
Yeah, One Piece is definitely all you read or watch it for the story.
Right, exactly. And if your story can hook me like One Piece has, I can continue to read it. But if the story is lackluster or not all the way there, your art really has to be on point. Because I will keep reading if the story just has a little interest and the art is okay. It doesn't have to be Picasso, but I need you to put some thought into what they are presenting to me as a consumer of the media.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that there are some basic standards that you need to meet as an artist. Like you said, it doesn't have to be amazing. Like, I'm not asking for like a Rembrandt or a Van Gogh or anything like that. But it needs to be decent enough, I think, where the actions are clear, the expressions are clear. I think of Tower of God, which probably my favorite webtoon, but the first season is definitely not drawn the best. And I think even when you think about the artist himself had it redone for his book when he released actual volumes, he knew it wasn't the best either. But I do think there is a charm to the first season and the designs and how everything looks. Like everything's conveyed really well.
I remember you had me look at the first season, and I honestly did not see a problem with it.
I mean, there's no problem with it.
I would have read it. I would have read that.
You make me sound like an art monster. No, there was nothing wrong with it. It was just more or less like I couldn't believe the fact that this was like one of the biggest webtoons on their site, and literally it starts out with lower quality artwork. Like a lot of the original series that you see now, the standards are much higher, I think, for the artwork, depending on the genre, because some comedy genres can get away with wonky designs. But like if you look at your typical like fantasies, like Remarried Empress, my mind went blank. What else do I read on Webtoons?
That's it. Only the one.
Yeah, just Remarried Empress. So we're gonna stick with that. But if you look at stuff, go ahead.
I think that a lot of that also has to do with artistic expression, because one of my favorites, whose name escapes me in this moment, it's very cartoony, but it's very, you have a lot of it in very sharp angles, but some of it is very cartoony. And you would think that, oh, they just decided to go off the handle with this, but no, it's an artistic choice. And so if it's an artistic choice, the reason the art is a certain way, I don't mind as much. Like a mistake is only a mistake if it's not consistent. So after consistency hits in, it's an artistic choice. And I can move along with those most of the time.
Yeah. Nope. And
because
so
going back to my One Piece example, there are definitely some artistic choices within the character designs of One Piece.
Yeah, I mean, not to keep harping on One Piece.
Yeah, look, I'm going to stop referring to One Piece, but that's just currently what I've been watching.
Well, let me just like sprinkle this out there. No, if you look at his backgrounds and like the design of the ship, the design of the islands, which for the anime, you know, they probably had a team doing that. But anyway, if you look at the manga, like those things are actually really good. Like those are good.
Is it one of the initial D where the actual people are but the cars look amazing.
Yes. Like One Piece is literally, the characters are, they are what they are. And then the world is just like, wow, this is a world. Like, I feel like I'm living in this thing. So let's get away from One Piece. So obviously the art is very impactful when you're reading a new series. However, there are some leniency there. So as a non-artist, do you feel that the drawings alone can carry a series?
For me, no. Even with amazing art, I know I said it has to have at least decent art, but even with the most amazing art, if I'm bored, I can't continue reading your story. I have started many series, anime, manga, even some webtoons. I've started them and I've just forgot about them because the story bored me to a point where I forgot I was even reading or watching the series. So no, like I like to say, yes, the story can totally carry. I mean, the artwork rather can totally carry. But no, I've forgotten about too many series because the story was so, for lack of a better
Flat.
term, boring.
Oh,
Okay, yes,
okay.
flat. Is that better?
I mean, one's more honest, I guess.
Yeah. But because the story was what it was, I did not even remember I read it.
Yeah, no.
Have you ever had one of those series where it's like, I remember this? Why do I remember this entire thing? But yet I don't remember it at all. You have that whole sense of being there before because you've read it. You just forgot about it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever gone through that because like generally I remember something about things that I've invested some sort of time. I may not remember what it's about, but I'll be like, I read this. I'm kind of the opposite though. Like when I'm thinking about a series where the drawings are like can carry the series, I think there are some exceptions where I know that the artwork alone, I would just keep reading it for the artwork period. Like I think about Berserk, Studio Ghibli, actually Bleach. Like if you ever just flip through a Bleach manga, like the artwork without reading it, amazing. So there are series that I probably would look at from a illustrative standpoint, and I would keep coming back every week to just look at the pictures, even if the story was I'm gonna keep using flat. Okay, so with all of that in mind, would you give a series with artwork that is average or even below average a chance?
Yeah.
Do you have any reasoning behind that?
Average isn't bad.
What about below average?
I guess it depends. It depends on the style. If it's a cartoony style, it's a comedy. I will say that I am probably more forgiving with the art style. You look at the little cute cats that are barely drawn. Who cares if they're crisp and clean and sharp edges? They're cats. They're cute. They're not meant to be, you see
the cat supremacy lives on.
Cat supremacy lives on, yes. But I would definitely give average and below average sometimes, depending on the genre. If I love action, I love superhero. That's like my favorite genre, probably on Webtoon. If the lines aren't crisp and clean and the action isn't amazing, I can't tell what's going on, I'm probably not going to give you much time because those are my favorite parts.
Okay. Because, a lot of people probably categorize themselves as having below average artwork. Like they might feel like their story writing is decent enough or whatever. And so it is really important, I think, for people to understand that even if your art is below average, if it's clear and the depictions are really selling what's happening in the scene,
let me know what's going on.
Even if it's flat.
I will say, coming from being the friend of an artist, what some artists consider to be below average is not below average.
Yeah, we're hardest on ourselves.
You are, yes. And it bothers me to no end, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Right.
We'll save that for another
video.
Yes, but a lot of artists who might think that their work is below average is not below average. If anything, some may be average or even above. I don't think the line is that thick.
Yeah, and I mean, art's relative. So every person that views your series, they might view it as this art is really good, even though it's below average. Like I'm talking about in a realistic standpoint where like, you know, we're talking about wonky stuff, like maybe your anatomy's off or like your eyes are crooked and whatnot, and you know it is, but you're still making it anyway, which is completely fine. But
those eyes
another
just
person
won't line up.
right. The tale oldest time for artists, like the one eye that just will not cooperate. But yeah, no. So the thing of it is, as long as you put out the artwork, even if it's low, as long as it's clear, I think for the masses, for us who are just reading it and we're not like paying you for it, you're good. So let's say a series begins with below average artwork, and then over time it becomes average or above average. Would you give this series a chance despite the initial lower quality artwork? And let's really like put this in a frame of the artwork is bad. Like I'm just gonna, not below average, we're just gonna go with bad. The artwork is bad, but you've heard that it improves. Would you give it a shot?
Off someone else's recommendation, yes.
Okay,
Just
no
me going back,
recommendation then.
no recommendation, probably not. If I
okay.
have heard that it has gotten better, it's a recommendation in my opinion. If I've
Mm-hmm.
heard from anyone that it gets so much better, it's a post online saying that. It's a recommendation. But me just going back to it, unless it was a concept that I was really drawn to, I might step back in, see, can I get through this again? I will probably start over. And if I cannot get through that initial, that's why certain things I've started over multiple times, because I know that it does get better, but I want to start from the beginning. I want to experience the whole thing. But if I can't get through the initial, I will most likely won't continue through the series.
Okay, so there is this thing where artists will go back and do their first couple of episodes, like if their art has significantly improved. Do you think it would be jarring as a reader to reread their first 3 episodes, which are in the higher quality, and then on, let's say, episode 4, it shifts back to the lower quality? Would that bother you?
I honestly don't know. It's not something I've experienced, so it's hard for me to say.
That makes sense. I'm just thinking about like if it was just really bad, and then to initially hook those readers, like even if they put out a disclaimer, hey, I went back and redid my first 3 episodes, just so you could see the art quality where it's at now. And then on episode 4, it will return back to the old quality. I think for me, art quality, sometimes I could deal with it. If episode 4 through whatever was bad, and I saw the art quality in the beginning was good, I'd probably be like, okay, it gets better. And maybe hopefully I would be like, please fix the rest of the episodes. But yeah, it can be kind of tricky, because I guess it depends on how jarring it is to go from that
Upgraded quality.
Yeah, upgraded quality to back down to the lower quality. So we're going to talk about the icons, another part of selling the Webtoon. So when you initially look at a series icon, how much of it actually affects you clicking on the series?
What's my scale? 1 to 10? 10? When we say 20, I will not click on it if the icon does not catch my attention. I don't even look for amazing art. I look for the composition. What are you telling me in the icon? I'm expecting it to be a representation of the art style that I am supposed to be experiencing. It's very important for me.
Very important. Yeah. I think having that small glimpse, that little visual representation, it definitely can spark someone's interest in your series. So when you're thinking about the icon, I noticed a lot of the Webtoon originals, they have a singular character in their icon, and it's generally like a headshot, and it just kind of shows maybe the character's expression or like a mood. But what about comics that have multiple characters in the icon? Do you think that's too much? Or do you think that it depends? Like, what are your thoughts on multiple characters?
I think it depends because there can be multiple characters and it not look muddy. I think
Mm,
the point of it is to be clear and don't bring your best design, best. I did all the shading and line work is the line work needs to be pretty good, but like don't bring all your shading and lighting and all this extras into the thumbnail because it's supposed to be simple and it can work with multiple characters in the thumbnail if it's simple enough. I remember seeing one the
mm,
other day where there were definitely multiple people. They had one person centralized in the thumbnail, but there were multiple people around it. I found myself trying to look closer into the thumbnail to see who the other characters were because it was just that entry. Each of the
mm,
characters were fairly simple in design and how they were drawn, but
mm.
it did not take away from the thumbnail itself. The thumbnail itself was still very interesting. So it can be done well with multiple characters, but it's rare that you see it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good point because I know a lot of people, I've heard people talking about how one character is the way to go, which I kind of can see that. But I do think, like you said, you can make it work where you can have multiple characters in the shot and it still can be a good thumbnail. I guess with the one character, you just have more room to like create a mood, I guess, maybe.
Right.
I don't know.
Probably go
So
all out on that shading and lighting
yeah.
because you're not trying to split focus.
So, could an interesting character design spark your interest to read the series?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. If I'm confused by a thumbnail, I will click on it.
If you're confused,
If I'm
what do you
confused,
mean?
if it's confusing enough to intrigue me, like if it's a character design that's not, I don't want to say normal, but if you put one of your quirkier looking characters on the thumbnail, I will definitely click on it just to see what's happening.
Oh yeah, no, like that, like I'm such a I'm so conserved sometimes about things like that. Like a weird character would not make me click on something. I would probably click away from it. Like I was just as you were saying that, I started filtering random characters that I think are quirky. And like, let's say if Pickle Rick was the icon for like a webtoon, I would never click on it. Like it wouldn't matter if it was recommended to me. No, never. But I'm sure people would be like, that's a pickle.
Yeah. Why is he a pickle?
What's going on here? Okay, so if a particular genre that you are not interested in or you really dislike has an amazing icon or even artwork, would you still click on it?
Absolutely. Do it all the time.
Really?
All the
Okay.
time.
Like romance series, like if they
Yep.
have an amazing, okay.
Mhm. I'm like, that character is gorgeous. Let me see if I can get through the first episode.
You're
Nope,
just like,
still a
yes.
romance. Still a romance. Can't quite get through it, but that was a nice icon. You got that first episode read.
If only creators could get paid for reading an
Right.
episode.
Right.
Oh man, that's too funny. Okay, yeah, kind of in the same boat. Yeah. To
I've
me though, I'm kind of like a genre doesn't matter as long as I'm in the mood for it. Like,
I can agree with that. I've read
yeah.
quite a few that I would never have clicked on normally that I have quite enjoyed. Some would even be considered guilty pleasures,
Mm,
but I have
yeah,
definitely
I think about like historical stuff. Like I don't really care for history, but there have been like multiple series and TV shows that are about like history, and I will
everyone
watch
can
them.
see your air quotes.
Yeah, air quotes. I was air quoting everybody. History, air quotes. All right, let's move forward. So now we're going to get into features, which is kind of some of the nitty gritty, I guess. This is something that I feel that a lot of people in the webtoon community think is really important to the audience. And so it'll be interesting to get our takes on it. So once you click on a series, do you read the summary?
No.
Like point blank period, like
No,
no further elaboration.
I've read many Webtoon. I cannot tell you where the summary is, to be honest.
Oh man, that's deep. Okay. Um, I'll explain it to you later.
I know where it is.
What
But my
about the
point is,
rating?
no.
Oh, wait. Okay, double nose.
It sounds harsh, but I don't care what other people think about it. That's how I am with movies, with TV shows. I don't care what other people's opinions are. I care about my friends' opinions. There are certain content creators that I watch whose opinions that I might agree with or steer toward, who I'll see what they say about something and I will go off their recommendation. But just for the masses, personally, it does not affect whether or not I will click on something. I don't care about the rating. I don't care about the summary, unless I will say that there is a caveat to the summary one. If I cannot look at the artwork and see what it's about, I might click on the summary just to read through it and say, do I care about this? If the art brings me in, but I look at the thumbnails for the episodes, if the episodes are not drawing me in, but the title has, the thumbnail has, I will read the summary then. Does it sway me all the time? No. Does it sway me away, sway me forward? Sometimes it doesn't matter. And I stick with my initial thought on it.
Yeah. The summary can be kind of interesting in the fact that I don't think a lot of people read it, to be honest. I read it sometimes, like if I'm on the fence about a series, because like the artwork didn't necessarily pull me in, but the concept looked interesting. And I think the summary is to help people who are on the fence, because this is a visual medium. So a lot of people, when they initially see it, they're not going to read the summary. They're just going to click on your first episode, and then they'll probably maybe read the summary later. Maybe.
If you read through the first episode and it's just like, what? You go read the summary.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, no. Okay, actually, no. Because if I finish the first episode and I'm confused, I'm just like, I'll be confused later. I'm out. Like I would only come back probably if like they rebooted it or something. Maybe. I don't know. That's kind of up in the air. I'm gonna put an asterisk next to that because I might keep reading if it confused me in a good way. Jumping on the rating, I feel like a lot of people really focus in on that. And a bunch of people talk about how the rating skews high on Webtoon, which is, I think, kind of relative because one, only Webtoon people are rating it. When you think about things like my anime list, some people will literally go onto my anime list and make an account just to rate one anime or something. But like most of the time, it's just the people on Webtoon rating stuff. Do you think like having a score of 9 point whatever makes that series more attractive to other readers?
To other readers, possibly.
Now, this is on a scale of 10. So like a 9 would be like an A, and a 9 point whatever would be like anywhere between an A minus to an A plus.
Well, see, I honestly don't know how the scale works, because I know on some platforms the star rating is based on how it relates to the things that you have read, you have looked at before. I know on Netflix, for example, the rating goes off of people who have watched some of the same things you have rated this a 5-star. They try to make it relevant to your personal taste. I don't know if Webtoons does that.
That's an interesting point. I never considered that. I haven't heard that that's how they do it. What I thought, from my understanding, was it was just like a generic rating. Like anyone can rate it, and it just averages all of the ratings and gives you the score. Part of my point in this was, if you look at anime, like anime is probably the easiest comparison, but you could also do book comparisons as well. Like if you look at official sites that have ratings for anime or books or manga, whatever, you rarely ever see a manga or an anime with a 9. Like, and I'm talking about like some of the what we consider, I'm air quoting people, what we consider the the masterpiece works. Like Attack on Titan, I looked at it the other day, is like an 8.2. And I feel like that's probably one of the best series that we've had for a long time. Like Naruto is like a 7.5. And going off book wise, like Game of Thrones is critically acclaimed. I think A Song on Ice and Fire is rated like a 4.5 out of 5, which I mean, that's high, but still, it's not like a perfect, like it's not a 4.9, you know, like
I
these are
think that has a
series.
lot to do with, for every, say, 10 people that like it, there is that 1 to 2 people that just hate it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I always feel like,
Yeah.
if this is, again, my personal stance, if
Everything is our
I,
personal stance.
yes, when it comes to rating things, if it is something that if I would not go and rate a romance, I just wouldn't, because I don't particularly like a majority of them. Would I go and rate action and adventure? In a heartbeat. I consume so much action and adventure media, either be it through books, through TV, whatever it is. But I don't feel like a lot of those sites, you just have people going up there, here's a rating, here's a rating. Like, does Webtoon require you to have an account to rate?
I don't know. I've never tried to rate I've never rated anything, period, to be honest, but I've never tried to rate anything because without an account. Like whenever I get on Webtoons, I'm always logged in.
Right.
So I don't know. That would be something we should test. If you know, leave us a comment below. So my point in all of this, though, was basically, for me personally, I feel like if these series that are critically acclaimed can suffer a 7, like you're good. Like,
Yeah.
Who cares how other stories skew? Like your rating is fine. Like it's no need to freak out if your story is no longer a 9. Like
the amount of money Shonen pulls in for Naruto, who cares if they are rated a 4 out of?
If I could pull in some of that Naruto money, that 7 wouldn't be irrelevant. Who cares? Like you made it. Like
you made it.
If you're the creator of Naruto and you're making like, I don't know how much he makes. This makes me want to look up his
all of the official merchandise for Naruto. You know he's making something off of it.
No, he's
I say
making
that he probably not. Who knows? But the point is, the ratings mean nothing. It's about who goes and actually reads your webtoon is what we're talking about here. Wow, I went off on a lot of tangents, didn't I? It all matters about your reader count and if they come back.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. If you have a supportive fan base and you're and they're coming every week, maybe they're even donating to you on Patreon, or they're sending you a coffee or something, then hey, having a 7, that's fine.
Does Webtoon look at that when creating originals from Canvas? Who knows? I don't. That's something someone who loves research will have to find out.
If you're a Webtoon editor, leave us a comment.
Leave us a comment, please. Let us know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to look up his net worth. So he's worth 20 million, which I mean, as a creator, a writer, illustrator, whatever, I think 20 million is pretty good. Like
I've never been worth that much in my life.
Yeah, like am I even making will I even make 20 million in my lifetime?
That's not why we're here. Let's move on.
We're just gonna leave that alone.
This is a happy place.
Yeah, this is a happy place. So how often do you click on a series recommended from the Webtoon banner on their homepage?
How often? Not very often, every now and then. Typically, if I'm getting on Webtoons, I am going directly to the search bar to find something specific, or to the browse, or I already know what I'm on there to read.
Oh,
if the first picture that I see is something that catches my eye, I will click on. It doesn't happen every time.
Because of like work stuff and life stuff as an adult on Webtoon, because we're both old, but
I am not old.
Okay, self-projecting, I guess. So I generally don't have time to browse the series. So like I'll up there and it immediately sparks my interest. I get on to read what I'm planning to read, and then I get off.
Yeah.
Generally, I'm behind. Like I'm behind probably like 10 episodes in one series that I'm reading, and I can never catch up. Like, and it's not that I don't like the series, it's just I'm behind. I don't have time to look at what's on the Webtoon banner unless it's just like amazing. Like I'm talking, well, that doesn't, I was about to use a reference, but I'm like, only you would understand that reference. I was about to be like, yeah, if it's Violet Evergarden level. And I
Yeah.
was like, no one would understand that. Okay.
The obsession.
So, yes, obsession. Okay. Does Webtoon's official account or a Webtoon creator's advertisement via social media affect your desire to read the promoted comic?
Nope. I realized I didn't realize until recently that I never actually follow the official Webtoon account.
What were you following? Were you following
Just
Canvas?
Just Canvas. I didn't realize there were
Poseidon is out here
multiple.
supporting y'all.
I didn't realize there were multiple accounts. For the longest, I didn't realize that Canvas and official, what it's not called official, Canvas and what is it called? Help me out. Original were separate. And yeah, I didn't know that there were two. So their advertisements mean nothing because I never saw them.
Yeah. And so what's interesting about that though is like I think people think that because Webtoons, which it does in a sense, like of course they're promoting the originals and whatnot, and so they are getting more people to click because people see that more.
Right.
But there are a lot of us that just kind of ignore it. I mean, they finally broke me down, and that's why I finally started reading Webtoons, because I kept getting the same ad over and over again. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna check this out. But for other people, I don't know. Like I feel like that one's a toss up. And then especially for social media posts that are promoted, I would probably go to your Instagram or wherever it's being promoted and look at your account there. But like your stuff would just have to be amazing for me to go from there to Webtoon, especially if I was on a device that didn't have the app on it. That would just annoy me because I'm lazy, which I think most people are when it comes to stuff like that. Like if you click on something and it doesn't take you immediately there, you're just kind of like, yeah, too much work.
If I click on something and it takes me to, if it opens my browser, I'm immediately exiting out and then keep scrolling. If it does not take me to their Instagram, like if I'm on Instagram and it does not take me to their Instagram profile, I am immediately exiting. I'm like, I didn't ask you to open anything. That's not why I'm here. I'm on Instagram, and I keep scrolling.
They need to keep it in order for you. Like,
yes,
for you and your kind, like they need to like get you to their Instagram, then advertise to you their Webtoon, then send you the link. That's a lot of work. I'd be like, just show me what you're trying to show me. Oh, okay, don't want it. Good.
Yeah.
Like I need it quick. All right, so let's keep going. I don't know what number this is, but we'll say 5. So when reading the comic, we're going to focus in now a little bit more on artwork and writing. So when do you stop reading, and what episode is that generally?
I have no idea. I stop reading when I have something else that needs to take precedent over me reading Webtoons, or I get bored, or I've reached the end of the series that is available to me.
Okay, so when you say you get bored, does that mean like you stop reading that series and then go to another, or you just stop, period?
I just stop.
Yeah.
I have to go to something completely different. I'll go pick up a video game or watch YouTube or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not harsh, but like I feel like the first episode is generally the most important. There are a lot of series that I probably would have stopped on the first episode, but I'm being nice sometimes. Like in my mind, I'm like,
sometimes I don't even make it through the first episode.
Oh, like we're talking like the first 10 panels.
Yeah, if I make it 10 panels. If I have a thing I don't like when I am scrolling down in the first chapter panel? And I see only pictures. If they're not telling me a story, if I'm looking at the sky for 3 or 4 panels, I'm immediately turning it off.
Oh, wow.
Look, I don't need to see the sky for that long. Yes, you spent so much time drawing this. Completely beautiful. Okay, I don't care. I'm here to see your story. I'm here to read your story, to see what this world that drew me into it. You've gotten me to click on your story at this point.
Yeah.
So I want to see the story. If you're not immediately giving me some sort of story, why am I here?
Okay. Yeah. First 10 panels is deep. Like that's some cutthroat type stuff.
I I
You're like 3 panels of sky, you're done.
there should be something there. But I've seen it so many times. I don't understand it. I really don't. And it really bothers me. I even seen it on some of my favorite ones. They do that as well. They didn't on their first episode, but they do it on later episodes. And I don't see the point. I remember reading something about giving the eyes a rest. I may be the only one. But when I am reading through a webtoon, I am consuming it ravenously. I am scrolling.
Yeah.
I am just scrolling, reading, looking at all the little details and continue. Like I want the experience to continue. I remember speaking with you at some point about how, for me, webtoons, reading visual novels, I will say books and consuming anime don't necessarily take up different spaces in my mind, but it's all one thing. Because when I look back on a webtoon, I think about it as if I just watched an episode of an anime. I remember when I first started Webtoon, I kept saying, I watched this. And you're just like, how did you watch that? I'm like, I meant I read it. It was a Webtoon. Because in my mind, they're so close together. So I'm consuming the Webtoon like I would a comic book that's panel after panel of some sort of visual stimulant, I would say. Or I'm watching an anime that's supposed to be, it's constantly going. For that 20 minutes that you're watching the anime, they are putting something before your face to keep you there. 3-4 panels of sky don't do that without any words. Does nothing for me.
Oh my God, that face you made without any words.
It hits none of the right spots.
Yeah, no, I can understand that could be annoying. I can't even remember anything that I've read that's like that. And I've read some of the series that you're reading, so I'm just like, when did that happen?
Yeah, but it's definitely a me thing.
No, for repetitive panels, I kind of ignore them. Like there'll often be a lot of establishing shots where they like show you where the characters are. Like in an ordinary, they'll show you like, oh, they're at the school, oh, they're at the cafe, oh, they're at John's apartment. And then I'm just like, okay.
But she doesn't put 4 panels of, look at the front of this beautiful building that I took all this time to make.
Well, no, I'm just saying like panels like
I can read the Parade of Homes for that. Believe me, I've done it.
Parade of Homes. Nobody knows what that is. You sure you're not old? Do they even make that magazine anymore?
Do.
Wow. Okay, we are getting way off topic.
We are off topic.
Let's regroup. Because I don't even think we're talking about the question anymore.
What was the question?
When do you stop reading? And what episode is that generally? So it's random. That's the answer to the question. There is no formula that we can come up with to give you guys an answer for that. It's random. It's random for both of us. But just know that Poseidon, if he gets 3 panels of sky, he's out. So I will say, if that is your comic, tag him in it, because I would love to watch him read it. All right, so let's keep the train going. So what's something that keeps you coming back weekly to read a comic?
Absolutely nothing. I hate weekly releases. I just can't. If you end it on a suspenseful, I'm going to think about it until the next time I can see it. So I let 3 or 4 episodes, I have to consume them in 3 to 5 episode chunks. So I will wait till 3 to 5 episodes come out, and then I will read those. And then I feel like I've consumed something. I can't do weekly. I just cannot. Because if I'm excited about it and I have to wait till the next week, no. Just like all the new Disney shows, no, I don't watch them weekly. I wait till the series is finished and I binge watch it.
Yes. And especially for you, some of the stuff you'd be interested in is like a very, very side plot that has nothing to do with anything, but you're like, I'm so hyped now. And I'm like, they're not going to come back to him for like 50 episodes. And you're like, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Because guess what? I'm watching them all tomorrow. And I don't have to wait a week. I cannot do the weekly thing. It's just not, it's not in me. After I discovered video on demand after that became a thing. Because, you know, we used to do it. Oh, I'm not old, but we used to do it. You had no choice.
I mean, to be honest, like you can't even stand commercials anymore.
I
And some of
cannot
them be
stand
like 15
commercials.
seconds. I'm like,
It
okay,
enrages me.
it does.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, no, I can't.
Okay, so we got it. Like, you don't come back weekly.
Mm-mm.
I do come back weekly for very particular webtoons. And I've noticed, like when I was thinking about this video, I noticed that a lot of them are the ones that make me feel good, like the ones that I have like an emotional reaction to in a positive sense. Like these suspenseful ones, love them. My favorite genre is tragedy. Like I love me a tragedy, but the fluffy, like boy meets girl and they like love each other through the whole thing. I'm just like, I'm here for that. Like, I want to see you guys together. Like, there's no
What's going on in your life this week?
Right. There's no misunderstandings between them. They're just like, we love each other. And I'm like, yes, you do. You really do. Not self-projecting. Anyway,
Sure.
So we talked about if a story has good art, would you continue reading it? But we're going to talk about the writing aspect of that. Let's say, you know, the art's good, but the writing is poor. Are you going to keep reading it with the thought that the writing will improve later?
Even if the writing does not improve, if I've invested so much into a story and it's just I will keep reading it.
Oh, no. If I've invested a lot in the story and
I've read lots of trash.
No, like there's stories I don't even consider to be trash, but the story got so. I'm not gonna name any ones right now because the story started out good, slowed down anymore, and the art's amazing. Love the art, the fantastic art. Love all the character designs. Like it's that, like all the characters are pretty. Like they live in a pretty world. Everybody's pretty. The side character that's hiding behind the tree is pretty. But the writing is just, I can't deal with it.
I will say there is one time where that did happen to me, but it was a story that I was really, really excited about, really, really invested in. And one of the main characters that I like, their particular arc was not something that I enjoyed. And that made me not want to come back. And so that was hard because I definitely, when the stories are more emotional, I definitely get drawn more into them. And if characters are not behaving in particular ways, we'll just say that, it bothers me. And I'm just like, well, I'm not happy reading this, so I'm no longer coming back. I have a philosophy. If it's not making me happy, I will not do it. If I go to
That's actually a good philosophy.
I go to Webtoons and every other media that I consume to be happy. Like I don't watch things so that I can get mad at them, so that I end up mad at them, but that's not why I initially come there. But to get upset, I might go there to cry. I will say that. But if I'm not enjoying my look for your tomorrow, I go there to cry. That's not a Webtoon. I'm sorry.
I was like, wait, what?
But if the characters are not making me happy, I will not go back. Or at the very least, I will start to trail off.
Gotcha. So speaking of characters, how important is the character's personality when you initially start the series?
Very important. I've stopped lots of series because I did not like the character's personality. But I'm not necessarily picky about it, but there are just certain characteristics that I don't want to see in a main character.
See, the character's personality is always irrelevant to me. Because for me, I know that I'm going on a journey with this character. So in the beginning, it's not as important. The plot needs to be important. I need to know that it's an interesting plot. So just because of the fact that I know that this, especially the main character, they're obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, they should grow as the story progresses.
Yes.
Therefore, even if they start out annoying, then I feel like they're not going to be as annoying later. Like any author that has an annoying character, if they want the story to succeed, will rein that personality in.
Asta who?
Some. Right. Still annoying though. Watch the series for plot. Anyway, speaking of plot, if the series has an interesting plot, but a very flat or plain character, maybe multiple characters are flat or plain in the beginning, would you keep reading it?
Yeah, because there are different types of storytelling, and sometimes the characters don't matter.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
I think I got that backwards.
Oh.
No, okay, I said that correctly.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes the characters don't matter, and the plot around the world is everything.
Right. I think the characters become more important later on, but to really like hook me, your main plot needs to be interesting. Like I was thinking about summaries because we were talking about it earlier. In summaries, they're generally giving you like a plot overview, not necessarily like a character overview, unless it's a romance, because then it's obviously going to talk about the character's feelings. But like if you're reading a fantasy, it's not going to be like John is in love with toothpaste and wakes up every morning to brush his teeth. He's a happy person. Join John on his adventures as he sails the 7 seas. Like, first of all, I probably read that because it said toothpaste in the description. But I'm just saying, my point is like the beginning I feel is for plot.
I want someone to make that now. Just it sounds preposterous. I want someone to make it. Please.
If you want to make that idea, you have free reign to do so. I'm not going to do anything with it. All right. So where were we? Okay. Do you feel it's important to set up the initial idea or theme rather than establishing a character's in-depth personality? We kind of touched on this, and I gave my opinion, but what's yours?
5.
This is not a scale question, but okay. We'll say that you're like in between. It depends.
It doesn't matter.
No, okay.
It really depends on what type of story the person is trying to tell.
Yeah.
Because sometimes plot is very important for a story. Other times, character development is very important.
Yeah. I will say, despite my taste, sometimes it is, depending on the story, more important to establish the character than to establish the plot. Well, yeah, I'm going to go with that statement. All right. So what makes a comic good, in your opinion? What do you think makes it good? Anything.
Anything.
Are you a parrot? Don't mimic me. Man, you could at least use the scale. So, is it the artwork? Is it the writing? Is it both? Okay, so I'm just going to give my thoughts on it then.
I got it. Multiple things for me go into making a comic good. Definitely artwork has a lot to do with it, as we discussed earlier. If the artwork is not up to my personal par, I won't even click on it. If I've already clicked on it, the artwork is no longer a problem. Then it becomes part of your story. Unless, of course, for some odd reason, you start drawing stick figures instead of your normal art. If you do, you better have a very good explanation. Lore-wise.
Reality manipulation.
Right, we're now in the stick world. But for writing, rather, it after you've drawn me in with the artwork, it's definitely up to the writing to continue making the story good. Because your initial draw for anyone on Webtoon is definitely your artwork and your title. Then for some people, it's the description. For others, it's the first episode or the first 3 episodes, 5, who knows? Or I don't think that's accurate. It's the first few episodes of whatever makes that person keeps coming back. Because if they stop coming back on the 10th episode, you've still lost them on the 10th episode. So at that point, it's really up to the writing. Your artwork cannot get worse than it is. You can't start cutting corners. I know that's a good reason why a lot of the people that I've watched, they always talk about making sure you start off with something that you can continue to do. Don't start something you cannot keep up when it comes to drawing your Webtoon. And so, yeah, both, I guess, is my answer. But more than that, once you've drawn me in with the artwork, it then becomes your writing that keeps me there.
I agree with that. I think it's a 50-50 balance. Or if you're being generous, you could go 60-40. But I think with 60/40 could apply to either of them. Like,
I think it's different depending on what stage you're in when it comes to reading a webcomic. Because again, you're not drawn in by the writing when you're looking at the title or the thumbnail. The writing means nothing then. You haven't started reading it.
I mean, true. So I was just thinking about in general, like a series you've read, what makes it good. But yeah, if we're talking about initially, yeah, definitely those things that you mentioned, I agree with completely. But I still think if we're talking about a story in its entirety as a whole, that would classify it as good, it would be a balance between the two. Like the artwork would only enhance the writing and the writing would enhance the artwork.
I can agree with that.
It kind of falls into one of those areas of one of them could be lower than the other and it could still be good, like the 60/40. So your art could be 60, your writing could be 40, or your writing could be 60, your art could be 40, but they need to be close enough where they're supporting each other to keep people coming back. And that was what would make it good to me. So let's hit our last section. And this is the artist section. Now, do you know? Well, actually, we kind of touched on this earlier. You didn't know, but do you know what Webtoon Canvas is?
At first, no. I do now, but I will say that when you go onto the Webtoons website for the first time, you do not understand that original and Canvas are different. Is it called original? See, I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, original.
Okay. You don't understand that they are different.
Yeah, I agree with that. When I first got on, I don't think I left the login page. Like I just clicked on the series that
you just start scrolling down that main page.
Yeah, and then I just looked at the other series that were there. It wasn't until later that I really started looking into Webtoons, and I was like, oh, there's an uploading side for people who aren't, I'm air quoting, professionals. So that, yeah, I don't know if they necessarily need to advertise that. What do you think?
I don't think they do. I think they do a decent, I wouldn't say it's a good job. They do a decent job of putting some Canvas people on the main site. I found quite a few Canvas either by searching genres or by just going through the main site. The main site is not just original. You have to click on the originals tab in order to just get originals.
Gotcha. Okay. That's pretty interesting. I don't search like that. Generally, I just kind of click on things. Like I'll either go when I'm looking for Canvas, I'll just click on Canvas and scroll through that. And then I have like a few original series that I keep my eye on, but I don't really search originals either.
I don't search either because there are some in the Canvas section who you could not tell me were not originals if I was not looking at the fact that I'm in the Canvas section. So
no, there's some really good series on Canvas that if you saw it like on the street and someone was like, tell me which one's the Canvas and which one's the original, you wouldn't be able to say. So does knowing that a creator is from Webtoon Canvas affect if you will consume their content? I think we answered that. No.
Yeah, nope. If I like it, I like it.
Okay, and so this is probably a big thing for a lot of creators and artists. What would make you support an artist financially? So Patreon, Coffee, PayPal.
For me to support an artist financially, I would definitely have to have some sort of relationship with that person in the sense of I come back to that person regularly for entertainment. I'm using entertainment because that's what Webtoon is. It's entertainment. I would definitely have to have formed a connection to their work or either their personality. Some Webtoon creators are like on YouTube or other platforms where they associate with their audience. And so if I have gained an attachment to that person through social media or just because I have fallen in love with their comic, I would then consider supporting them financially because I like to look at it somewhat of they're providing me with the service and I enjoy supporting the services so that I can get different services so that I can get more of them. I'm a firm believer in support the things you want to have more of.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think having a personal connection with somebody is what makes another person go that extra step of supporting you because we don't know how many series they're reading. So what's going to separate you apart from the other people is potentially those little interactions that you have with them. It could be even like I've seen creators do Q&As with their audience, or they'll do like fan art shout out type things where people draw fan art, they'll put it in the episode. So I've seen a lot of that stuff, which is really cool. But for me, like, I've got to have a connection with you in order to support you, or your Patreon has to be giving, well, I won't limit it to Patreon, but you have to be giving me something in exchange other than the comics. So like if you have prints or charms or buttons, whatever, or if
that is a part that I didn't think of, but I will pay for some official merch.
Yes.
I will 100% buy official merch. I didn't think about it because I guess I never really considered that as supporting, but it really is supporting them financially, buying their merchandise.
Yeah. And artists, if they sell out of a product, yeah, they're ecstatic about it.
Yeah.
So definitely if we have that connection, and it really benefits, like even if it's something small, if you could do buttons, bookmarks, something that like doesn't require a lot of effort that you could just have up, like I would be more apt to buy something from you and receive it than to just give you money. And I'm not sure if that's how a lot of other people are, but I think when you can get something physically in return for your support, other than, you know, a thank you or a shout out, like that really motivates people to be like, okay, yeah, I'll support you. I'm getting this in exchange. Well, wow. Poseidon, we covered a lot of stuff in this video. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I always enjoy getting your critical viewpoints, and I hope that it will be beneficial to our audience.
Next week, we're going to have a special treat for you. All 3 of the Pantheon members will be here for a discussion of our Webtoon recommendations. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, leave us a like, a comment, and most definitely ring the bell. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. The links are in the description. We're particularly active on Instagram, so if you want to chat with us, feel free to pop by. We'll catch you in the next video.